that time of year when candidate circulars fill your mailbox.
Signs sprout up on medians and street corners.
And everyone says, vote for me, vote yes for this, and no for that.
It's election season, a chance to make yourself heard through your vote.
The last few months have shown us there are many people who feel they are being ignored.
Now, more than ever, your vote is your voice.
When you vote, you get a chance to say, this is the kind of community I want to live in.
Mr. Team members have told us they want our help registering to vote, learning about candidates and issues, and having time to vote on election day.
We've listened, and that's why we've launched a campaign of our own.
Mr. Car Wash says yes to voting.
No matter your political beliefs and views, it is important that your voice be heard. Our democracy simply works better when we all vote.
Let your voice be heard. Get out and vote today.
Mr. Car Wash says...
Mr. Car Wash says...
Mr. Car Wash says...
Mr. Car Wash says yes to voting.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Car Wash Magazine Live. I am your host, Matt DeWolf, Editor-in-Chief of Car Wash Magazine. Hey, at the top of the program there, you just saw a great video from Mr. Car Wash. Just another example of how you can stay relevant with the content that you're providing to your customers. And so their topic was voting. Very timely, very relevant. We've been talking about that the past couple of weeks as we talk about what's going on in holiday marketing and how to cut through the noise. And so that's a great effort there from Mr. Car Wash, and thank you for sharing that. If you have something you want to share it with me, mdewolf@carwash.org. Okay, first and foremost, you guys, on this program, we've got a couple of really fast dates. We've seen these the last couple of weeks here, but we do have today is the deadline. You can see that right down below me. Today's the deadline for the Women's Leadership Certificate Program in partnership with Notre Dame. Make sure you sign up for that today. That's today, not tomorrow, not yesterday. That's today. All right, the other one I want to make sure that everybody has on their calendar, as if you don't, is the Car Wash Show 2021, November 15 through 17 in Las Vegas. So looking forward to seeing you all there. It's going to be a great time. Mark your calendars. Stay tuned for more information. We will have it for you. All right, so last week, here's the deal. I was talking about how I was waiting for my magazine to arrive and whatever. It didn't show up before the show was over. But it's here. It's here now. So this is in mailboxes, probably starting, I don't know, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. You guys should have your copies soon. If you don't, the only way to make sure you get all 4 issues is to be a member of the International Car Wash Association, and you can do that right there. Right, there. All right, that's that. Okay, so part of the magazine's mission is to create stories and share those with you and to provide you with interesting and important information and data. And so speaking of that data, we wanted to share with you now a quick look at the latest results of the industry pulse surveys. So ICA is doing these on a quarterly basis, getting operators and suppliers to provide responses to these surveys to kind of give us a sense of what's going on in the industry as a whole. And so now here with us to share some of the latest results is International Car Wash Association CEO Eric Wolf.
Hi, this is Eric Wolf with ICA bringing you the Industry Pulse Survey for Q3 2020. The last time we gathered to review our survey results was July. And so we're now going to take a look at several months of the evolution in sentiments on both the supplier and the operator side. Let me start with some of the supplier information that I think is interesting first. If I had to provide a headline for what's going to come in both of these surveys, actually, I would call things, at least the car wash industry, strong and resilient. And thank goodness we're in the business that we are in, particularly as the COVID impact begins or continues to affect the entire economy. One of the first statistics I want to highlight on the supplier side is looking at the sales pipeline. So if you'll remember all the way back into April when we were in the heat or the height, of the COVID crisis, 58% of our suppliers saw a degrading sales pipeline. That has now nearly inversed to 62% of improving. So 6 in 10 saw degrading in April. Now 6 in 10 see an improving sales pipeline. So really positive news there. On the supplier's view into the operators, so their customers, in April, 86% of them saw weakening amongst their customers. No surprise, we know what things were like back then. Now, though, they are seeing 51% of their customers with strengthening businesses. Now, what's interesting about that is, if you look into the operator results that I'll get to in a moment, but are also available to you on carwash.org, The operators self-report 47% strengthening. So good alignment there, I would say, with how suppliers are viewing into the operators and then the operators' views of their own businesses. Next on the suppliers, let me highlight just one of the segments. And again, full results available on the website, but one of the segments, still the equipment segment that is on the supplier side, still seeing really positive numbers in terms of what they expect the full year growth rates to be. So in July, we saw the equipment segment reporting that they believed that for the year, they'd still do a 30% increase in business. In September, down slightly, but still 24%. So really positive numbers, particularly considering where we began the year. And then let's go to our favorite two questions to end on the suppliers, which is this current conditions and then the 6 months from now business conditions question. So we are seeing, first of all, let's pause for a minute and remember that September is essentially now we're 6 months out from the last time we asked this question, almost 6 months out. So back in April, suppliers thought that 6 months out, they would look at a 52% positive business climate. We've actually outperformed, at least thus far in September, we've outperformed that number with 64% of respondents believing that business conditions are positive right now. So good news, and tells us also our projections aren't that far off, that hopefully we've got some good future seers there in the supply segment in terms of knowing where things are headed. We also are seeing some bright spots in terms of where people think we're going to be 6 months from now. So in July, that number was 57% positive, meaning suppliers thought that 6 months out from July, 57% of them thought the business climate would be positive. That now has increased to 74%. So some really positive future outlook on the supplier side. Okay, let me go real quickly to the operator side. Again, you can read all this yourself on the website. I'm just going to highlight a couple of pieces. First of all, remember, you got to remember where we started from this year. In April, 85% of operators reported that their business was weakening. We are now seeing 47% say that their business is strengthening. Now that's really good. That's a flip all the way over from majority weakening to almost majority strengthening. I will though say that was 55% in July. So a little softening in the strengthening number, but still a pretty strong result overall. Another question to really look at over these periods of time is this idea of what do you think revenue growth is going to be for the car wash segment amongst operators? In April, the projection for the year was negative 15%. In July, we saw the first time it popped into positive, +1. Now we're seeing with this survey, the September survey, a +5 growth percent estimation for the full year. So some real nice strengthening, not as fast as perhaps the supplier segment, but real nice strengthening as we head into the end of the year. And then let's look at these last two questions on the current and the 6 month projection. First of all, back in April, only 48% of folks thought that the business climate was positive. We're now up to 53%. So we have actually, again, outperformed the April estimations of where we would be 6 months out, albeit we're in September, not the October number just yet, but that's positive that we're trending in the right direction. And what we're seeing also, similar to the suppliers, is this idea of a strengthening future outlook. So in July, 62% of operators expected for things to be positive in 6 months. That number is now 66%. So take a look at all these surveys if you'd like, again, at carwash.org/industry-pulse. But I think what I would take away as the headline here is you look particularly at that business conditions number. You're seeing both of those in the current climate being over 50% positive, and both of them in the 6 months out being over 60% positive. So you're seeing these numbers continue to climb in the right way. So until next time, thanks to everybody who filled out these surveys. Please take a moment to do our Q4, and we'll see you down the road. Take care.
Super thankful for Eric to come on the program and help us kind kind of hear some of those positive things that are coming out of those survey results. Again, just really nice that this industry is so strong and resilient. So if you want to see the data yourselves and take a look at those, guess where that link is? It's right here. carwash.org/industry-pulse. Make sure you check that out. Speaking of what is great about this industry, we all like to collaborate, right? I mean, we like to share ideas and help each other out. And so a couple of weeks ago, we convened a special marketing panel to help each other out in terms of what's going on in holiday marketing. And so in case you missed that, that is what that acronym is, ICKY-ME, in case you missed it. We're going to give you just a sneak peek here, a little throwback, if you will, of what that was like a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about whether or not you should consider a haunted Halloween tunnel. Are you a thumbs up or a thumbs down on Halloween-themed car washes?
Boo. So I'm going to go thumbs down here. I'm going to take the hot take. So for us at Splash, it doesn't really jive with our brand. So I don't know that I'm against it industry-wide as much, but for us, I don't see that as something we'll ever do just from a brand fit. We're more kind of family, airy, light, bright, clean. And honestly, when every time I think about it, every year I have the thought, and I'm like, God, that's a lot of work, and it's gotta drive some serious traffic.
Justin is a thumbs down on Halloween, specifically Halloween-themed washes. Beth, this is your 2 minutes. Go for it.
How about I go like this? I'm throwing you for a loop, aren't I?
You're in the middle.
No, honestly, after watching the intro videos and seeing, some of the awesome execution that some of these washes are doing around Halloween themed experiences, how could you be a thumbs down? Now, with that said, I'm glad that we're not the ones executing that. I think that, from a brand perspective, Justin touched on it a little bit, but we all guard our brands just so tightly. And, we would have to put together a Steven Spielberg or J.J. Abrams quality tunnel experience if we were to do the Halloween type of theme. So, for us, it doesn't make sense to do a Halloween themed wash. But with that said, that doesn't mean we don't celebrate, Halloween or do different things surrounding the holidays. We have costume contests that we do with our employees where we have great participation. And then we also do social contests for free washes and gift cards that involve our current customers. So I think there are many things that you can do, but they don't necessarily need to be at that level of a haunted tunnel to really make an impact.
Nick Lopez, you have done this. You are pretty adamant in the red, I hear. Your turn. You've got 2 minutes.
If you've got the time and the commitment and the community impact, especially if you're in a small town or you're within a neighborhood, this is your year. You creatives out there that rock, I really think that this is your year to shine. If you can but you got to put love and time into it. I don't think that you will ever make the money back that you will spend in doing this right, even if you get those lines of cars. However, what you will get back in the love and appreciation from your community, as well as the camaraderie that will foster amongst your team, I think it's a worthwhile endeavor.
All right, so there you have it. That was, in case you missed it, 2 weeks ago we had a special marketing panel. Guess what? We've got another one coming up for you next week, so make sure you tune in for that. We're going to talk about all things consumer habits change, and we're going to talk about some future marketing strategies that you all can employ to cut through the noise. So make sure you check that out. This is the time in the program where normally we would have a joke, but I got something way better for you this week.
All of these lines across my face tell of the story of who I am. Tell of the story of who I've been, and tell of the story of where I am. But these stories don't mean anything if you've got no one to tell them to. It's true. I was made for you. I climbed across the mountain top. I swam all across the ocean blue. I crossed all the lines and I broke all the rules. But baby, I broke them all for you. Because even when I was flat broke, you got me feel like $1,000,000 you do. I was made for you.
Now that is a car wash experience, my friends. That is car wash karaoke from Marc-1 Car Wash. Marcus Kittrell is going to be joining us here in just a moment. I am your host on this episode of Car Wash Magazine Live, Matt DeWolf, editor-in-chief of Car Wash Magazine. If you are just joining us, we are about to jump in here. We've got a fantastic tour for you of Marc-1 Car Wash down in Alabama. All right, so that was a great look at Marc-1 Car Wash. We have with us now, live and in the flesh, Marcus Kittrell from Marc-1 Car Wash. Marcus, welcome.
Hey, Matt, great to be here.
Hey, so I know when we were talking a couple weeks ago, it dawned on me that while I knew your name and I kind of knew of you, I didn't really know your backstory. And so I'm really excited. You've got a great story to share with everybody today. Can you just back up kind of from a 30,000 foot level and give folks kind of how you got into this industry?
Yeah, I'm an old timer now, but back in '81, I went to work for a full service car wash in our area, and started there at age 16. And so once I graduated high school, I went off to college. I flunked out in about 6 months, and my dad said, "You better figure life out." And so I stayed working at the car wash, and so here I am today, still in the car wash, trying to figure life out.
Well,
but,
we're all figuring out every day, right?
Yeah. But you know, I guess back to the story. I started, like I said, when I was 16. I was in the full service car wash for about 14 years, working my way from a towel dryer all the way up to a manager.
Okay.
And just bounced around a few locations as the manager. And then in '95, went to work for a distributor that distributed equipment in our markets. And so did that for about 5 years. And then in 2000, I went and leased my very own full service car wash. And so that's kind of how the journey began myself as far as, in the car wash business.
So you've gotten to kind of see a little bit of everything from the self-serve model to full serve to express exterior, which let's talk about that. Let's talk about express exterior because you are one of the original adapters of the express exterior model. You were in like the top 3 folks who started doing that. Can you just share with everybody kind of how you got into express exterior and why that model made sense for you? It's a great story. I loved hearing it when you told it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, back in '02, I was actually remodeling an old full service car wash, and I went to visit Benny over in Baton Rouge. And so it was a rainy Tuesday. I'll never forget it. I was over there and was able to kind of tour his flex server, his full service sites. And he said, "Hey, come over here. Let's look at this thing I just built, this new toy I just built." And so we went over there, and it was, like I said, it was a rainy Tuesday, and the lot was packed. Cars were going through. The vacuums were full. I said, "Man, what is this?" And he said, this is what we've just opened up, our new express exterior. and had pay stations and had gates, and had a big detail belt, and like all these cars going through. And I said, man, this is the way to wash cars. And so I spent probably the day there and decided. I called my contractor after the visit with Benny, and I said, listen, you got to stop construction. We're right in the middle of refurbing this full service wash. And so we had just added on this beautiful lobby. And I said, listen, we're going to have to knock it down and put the 3 vacuums there. And so that's what we did. And it delayed me about 3 months, and it cost me about $200,000 more. But I always say it was the best investment I ever made.
So in doing that, did your contractor tell you you're crazy?
He did. He had no idea. I actually took him out there with me.
Okay.
About 2 weeks later, I drove him out there, and we measured and looked, and says, I don't know if it's going to work. I said, well, it's going to work because this is the way to wash cars. He had 3 or 4 people running it, washing all these cars. Rainy Tuesday. I said, yeah, this is what we're going to do. This is the future.
That's funny. I suspect he probably had some more choice words than you're crazy.
Probably so. I can't remember. I probably did.
That's funny. Well, so the real power in that, right, is that you went to a wash, not your wash, right? There's no reason that you should have been able to kind of like get a sneak peek at something like that and get all that information. But there is real power in sharing and collaborating and helping people in this industry. Can you just talk about what that has meant for you?
Yeah, I mean, Benny, Alfred, and Justin, they're probably the ultimate people that have done this. They share with me. I mean, Benny sat down with me with my financial statement and showed me how this thing's going to work. I mean, he really spent some time with me. And it's, our industry is known for that. We have a really good industry as far as sharing ideas and kind of copycatting each other and kind of putting our own twist on it. But I think it's super important to be able to do that. You see that with our different associations. There's people that try to help reach out. There's pilot programs where you come in and a new person comes into the industry and you link them up with an existing operator. And so it's pretty cool to be able to see that, but it's very important to be able to share this information. It's how I got started.
Yeah, and you're obviously paying it forward. And I know along the way you've built several washes. You've also done some fun conversions. Is there one conversion or one project you're especially proud of?
Yeah, it'd have to be. We took over a 3-bay self-serve, 3-bay automatic car wash in Birmingham.
Okay.
And it was a great layout, but and this was back in 2012. This is when the guys really started talking about the mini tunnels and trying to convert a bay over. And so we looked at the site, and the equipment manufacturer says, listen, this will work this way also. Basically by taking the whole building and making it a conveyor instead of just one bay. But we had to take all the walls down. We had to put a pit in for where all the self-serve pits were. And so that was probably the most unique rebuild that I did. The free vacuum canopy actually sits on top of a tunnel that goes underground that cars travel. So it's a pretty cool little deal for that area of town. People kind of comment about, going under the car wash as they go down the street. So
that's pretty funny. So the cars come in underneath the wash.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And then you can get to it that way. And so it's kind of a neat little spot in that area of town.
So I guess what was the driving force for you in converting it that way? Like, why not just, a lot of times now you'll see people just come in and knock it out and then put up something new.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing was the zoning in that area. Once you knock something down, you have to go get it rezoned. And so we wanted to save that. And we want to also save the tap fees that were existing. And so, and we were going to use it. Whether you knock the wash down or not, it was going to be the same footprint. And so it just made sense to try. I don't know if we really saved any money. We might have saved a little bit, but we saved a lot of time.
Yeah, sure.
We did save a lot of time because the existing parking lot was there, curb cuts were there, so we didn't have to go through all that. So it was a pretty cool little project.
Nice. Well, that's a super fun story. And folks watching the program, I know they're getting some good visuals of what that actually looked like and how you guys did that. So that's super cool. If you guys are just tuning into the program, I know you can join this at various times. This is Matt DeWolf, editor-in-chief of Car Wash Magazine, getting a chance to talk with Marc-1 Car Wash's Marcus Kittrell. So we are talking all things car wash. We got Marcus's story into the industry, and now I want to know, Marcus, you've built some washes, you've converted washes, you were early adopter of Express Exteriors. You guys have been growing over the years, and as part of that, you took that idea of kind of partnering and collaborating in this industry a step further and got in with Mammoth Holdings. Can you tell us kind of what that's all about and how that came to be?
Yeah, that's a pretty cool story by itself. Gary Dennis, a really good friend of mine, I've known Gary for 20 years, had this idea and says, listen, we can partner up with a big group, around the country and try to, come together as you see a lot of these consolidators do. And so, matter of fact, we're celebrating 2 years in October. We actually launched 2 years ago. And so, and basically what we do, it's every brand involved has a unique way they do their business. And so, in the past, what you've seen is a consolidator come in and say, this is the one way you have to do it, the only way we're going to do it, and kind of move forward with that, which has worked with some of the consolidators. We want to take a little bit different approach and say, listen, what is special about that brand? And we knew that the ownerships, the entrepreneurs that built those companies had a lot left. Someone had a lot left in the tank and wanted to stay on and expand. And we didn't know how many people were interested in that. Me personally, I had built a really good company, and I was trying to go to another level. And so that was the opportunity for me to do it. So when we kind of all put this thing together, it was a lot of conversations, a lot of ideas back and forth. But at the end of the day, it has seemed to be paying off as of now.
Yeah, it's a very different approach from, kind of a traditional sell your wash and get into a consolidated situation. It's really, I think at the end of the day, it comes back to what do you want your future involvement to be? So as you grow your wash and grow your business, and then you get to the point where you want to sell, well, are you selling to enable you to do more and you want to stay in the business? And like you said, you want to keep giving, or do you want to get out? And so that's a very different approach. I think it's fascinating to see kind of both sides of that. But this entrepreneurial partnership that you guys are doing, what do you think has been probably the most beneficial thing for you coming out of that? What's been the big win for you?
A lot of the guys that are here in this video are in enhancement groups.
Yeah.
And it's like having your own enhancement group every week. And so you get a lot of good ideas. There's a lot of knowledge in our group, very professional group. We have management systems that I was able to contribute to that Finish Line, Chris Presswood, Gary Dennis and Chip Hackett, Brent Wignall, Wiggy Wash, the Pit Stop crew that we just acquired. You get so many good ideas from how everybody built their brand, and some of the ownership wants to stay in, some of them want to stay in a different capacity. We have guys that have stayed in that just want to do M&A, or they just want to build brand new sites. We have guys like myself who love this industry, love the operations side of it, love teaching young people how to run a business and how to better themselves, be good managers and things like that. So, it's a great benefit to people that want to maybe sell, take the chips off the table, but also stay in the industry. And so, I've been able to expand the Marc-1 brand inside this Mammoth umbrella. I think just about every brand we have that we've taken on, we've been able to expand, or we are expanding their brand inside their area.
So it's very much talk about the geography side of it, because you mentioned some really great operators in that group as you were naming folks off, and I was thinking in my head, they're not all in the same spot. So can you talk about the geography of it and how you kind of break that down, and if there's any rhyme or reason to that?
No, I think what we always have looked at first, or what we're looking at first, is the operator first.
Yeah.
And then that kind of lines up with the region. Like we had, you talking about, rent up there in Salt Lake City, Utah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. Our office, or one of our offices, our headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia. And so it was the operator side that really drew us to that. And so that's kind of how that works. There's no boundaries as far as geographic goes. We look for the operator or the opportunity that operator wants to stay in and grow their brand. And so that's kind of the basis of our Mammoth Holdings.
Okay, yeah, coming back to the something we say, I swear, every week on the show. It's all about the people. So
It is.
and getting the right people on the right bus.
Yeah, and in the right seat on the bus.
Yeah, right.
So that
right.
always makes a difference. And that's one good thing about our company. We really work hard in trying to place people and put them in positions where they're going to be successful. I mean, we have a customer service center that's up in Paducah, Kentucky, that does a lot of our hiring, our first screening, all the things like that, the management systems. Everybody's going to Zoom now with the COVID. And so we've been able to kind of champion that ourselves and be able to really spread a good message of Mammoth Holdings in wherever you are. So it's pretty cool to see our company grow like we are.
Yeah, super exciting for you guys. I've been watching it for a couple of years now. And it's really neat to see it evolve. So good job, you guys. if that means anything for me.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work from a lot of really good operators. We communicate very often, every week. Kind of by video, and then we have certain calls every week. So we have a pretty good structure that works. No one feels left out, and everybody contributes. Everybody's ideas on the table. But we also check our egos at the door to make sure that, this is bigger than any brand or any person. And so we want to make sure that Mammoth Holdings keeps growing the right way.
Yeah, Marcus, I love that story. I'm so grateful for you being on the program today and sharing that story with everybody. I think it's really good to have both sides of the coin, so to speak, and to be able to talk about what consolidation looks like in some situations, but it's not the same for everybody. And so you guys have a really unique approach to that. Before I let you get back to the business of washing cars, I got to ask you, though, one of my favorite questions: what gives you hope, or what gives you kind of the reason to come back to car washing every day?
I just got off an ops meeting before our call today. We have a staff assessment chart that we look at every staff member at every brand, at every car wash. And we break it down for our regions. And I see all these young people that are moving up.
Yeah.
And, filling an assistant manager role, filling a manager role, opportunity to grow. That's the name of the game for me. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm an old timer now. So back when I started, I was one of the new young guns coming up. Now I'm the old timer. But I love seeing young people learn and grow. And I think it's our responsibility as we kind of get to that age where we can actually give back, for us to teach young people how to succeed. I've had a few people that have worked for me in the past actually go on and start their own car wash or their own business. And so it's really cool to see that, and really glad to watch that, happen.
So awesome. So awesome. Marcus, thank you again for spending some time with us today, and thank you for sharing your story.
Matt, thanks for having me.
Hey, if you're watching at home and you want to watch more great stories like that, make sure you go to carwashmagazine.com and check out all the previous episodes. We've been doing this for a while now, so looking forward to sharing our stories with you. And this week, when you're out there, there's only one thing to do: keep it clean.